It's time to come clean. I've never read Jujutsu Kaisen because reading and watching anime is cringe. Everything I know about the series comes from online discourse. It comes from Reddit comments, some pictures that I think are funny, and maybe sometimes I'll even look at my own YouTube comments for inspiration or what happens. But it's true. I've never once cared about the series. I just want to look cool in front of the millions of people who like JJK. But today, we are going to be talking about Shikigami because I am an educator first and foremost. You know, my research on Reddit and the YouTube comments have led me to believe that there are a lot of really cool Shikigami and we should be talking about them. So, today's video is my face when 70% of Shikigami are Megumis. Manga spoilers are ahead. And of course, we must begin with definitions. So what exactly is a Shikigami? Well, as per the wiki, they are monstrous creatures resembling cursed spirits that are conjured to serve as familiars for Jujutsu users. Fucking boring. I mean, how are you going to come up with such a cool idea and give it this lame-ass, stank-ass definition? As for Luca, of course, they're de facto cursed spirits that fight for you. That's it. You gotta tame them. They're like evil Pokemon, but instead of being truly evil, they're kind of good evil. Catch my vibe? But now that we got definitions out of the way, we can finally talk about every single Shikigami in Jujutsu Kaisen, starting with Rika, someone you know very well. It's a Shikigami that stays with Yuta after the soul of his 11-year-old lover finally passes on into the afterlife. You might be a Gary Stu Yuta, but this is something that I'll never let you forget. This whole shebang. What's going on here? The Rika in Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is not actually a Shikigami. That is the original dead child. And until she passes on into the afterlife, finally she becomes this little picture of the Rika Shikigami, and it makes Yuta absolutely busted. Remember, Gary Stu, by giving him access to copied curse techniques, because Yuta can only store 3 or 4 curse techniques in his brain. Giving him access to curse tools, because Yuta doesn't have links from Legend of Zelda's curse pouch. Supplies him with additional curse energy, as though Yuta doesn't already have the Uzumaki reserves. And it shoots lasers, almost matching Ryu's. Even without all these abilities that have to do with cursed energy and buff Yuta to extents that we've never fucking seen before for some reason, it's also just generally strong. It can hold Sukuna for some reason, and Sukuna's muscular AF. But the most important thing the Shikigami Rika does is love Yuta. Aww. But everyone already knows Rika, so we can finally move on to talking about the real important Shikigami, starting with the Divine Dogs and the 10 Shadows. They are received by any user who has access to the 10 Shadows, and they're primarily used for tracking, fighting weak, cursed spirits. This is perfect for Megumi because he enjoys fighting not only weak, cursed spirits, but middle school children. So, nice job. And remember, the 10 Shadows Shikigami are all manifestations of your mind, so whatever you think about them, they will appear in the real world like that. For instance, for example, Sukuna's look like this when he summons the Divine Dogs. Holy shit, this is fucking hellhounds. I would not want to fight this, I'd be scared shitless. Post 56 different Infinite Voids Megumis might look something like this, if he still has them. Hey little white Divine Dog. And yes, I drew this, you can commission me as an artist. It can be a little side hustle. Now, the powers are passed on to Divine Dog Totality whenever one of them dies. Specifically in Megumi's case, the white dog died. This ultimately makes the Divine Dogs way stronger because they are upgraded to be able to hurt even special grade cursed spirits such as Hanami, and then they even pull a Mike Tyson on Reggie and get rid of his ear. They should have gotten rid of that beard though. Look at that shit. So all things considered, Divine Dogs are pretty strong considering they're received by literally any 10 Shadows user. Next up we've got Nue. Nue is an electric owl, I want to say, with human teeth. Look at those chompers. But when Sukuna uses it, it turns into an electric owl kaiju with a Magic Johnson smile. Probably because it combines it with Great Serpent. I don't know why that's a probably, but that's what he does. So first of all, this thing is absolutely fucking massive, and its smile is actually uncanny. This is how the photographers in school photos want you to smile. But what Nue really is, it's a support Shikigami that flies around and tases you. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage when Megumi is using it, and also it's bad in confined spaces. It fucking shouldn't be if Megumi is using it. Look at the size of this thing. It's the size of Megumi. Why would it be bad in confined spaces? It's just like a human. Just like an anime human. It should totally be able to fly around and do barrel rolls. This thing is fucking tiny, and yeah, I mean, the big one, Sukuna's, wouldn't be good in confined spaces, probably just because it'd break them. But hey, Nue is really useful. I mean, it's good for attacking flying enemies like Momo. Okay. To all the Pokemon fans out there, we've got the fact that Nue is to Zapdos as Fion is to Manaphy, and most importantly, Nue is a part of Mommy. Great Serpent is up next, and as per its name, it's a snake. What more do you want me to say? Here are its lists of accomplishments in the verse. It restrained Sukuna for maybe 2 seconds, maybe less, and then died forever. But it's not all bad. At least it's a part of Mommy. Next up we've got Toad. And yes, it's just called Toad. I would kill myself if that was me. I hate Toad so much. If you play as Toad in Mario Kart, if Toad is your favorite Marioverse character, what is wrong with you? Moving back to the Shikigami, it uses its grippy tongue to attack enemies and allies alike. It can subdue people and it can put them in your mouth for safety or something. Just like Nue, it is a support Shikigami, and this one specifically can bear the weight of Nanami's juicy muscles. And it does damage to evil Mario. So that's cool. Even the elephant didn't do that. But the most interesting thing about Toad is that it can combine with Nue to make winged toads that when killed, have no downside. Megumi, why the fuck did you not spam this at literally every moment in the series? This combination is ironically called the Wells Unknown Abyss because that's exactly what Megumi's hole in his head where his brain should be is called. Max Elephant is a Shikigami we haven't seen a lot of, but it basically summons a big old elephant with water powers, emphasis on big because this is exactly how Megumi uses it. Sukuna of course flips the script and makes this huge ass mammoth. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, elephants are big, but if I had access to an elephant that could make nigh unlimited water, I feel like I'd be using that power more than just, haha, elephant squish big bad guy. I'll give it its props though. When Megumi uses it in Chimera Shadow Garden, it looks pretty powerful because it amplifies its weight, and it can simulate piercing blood if you are the king of curses / if you have a brain cell. This is ultimately what leads me to believe that the water power is actually stronger than the big weight go brr. Next up we've got Rabbit Escape. Unfortunately, people never use grammar here, but it's actually called Rabbit Escape because no one wants those hands. Really though, it just summons a large swarm of rabbits that act as a diversion, and I will give Megumi his flowers here. He actually uses it really intelligently against Kirara to figure out the CT. And you can make so many rabbits. I don't know if there's a limit to them, but you can continue to use them so long as you have the main rabbit still alive. But Rabbit Escape is a fan favorite. Big time to a lot of people because of the Toji incident of 2023. So congratulations, Rabbit. You made it to a meme, you threw some hands. People like you now. Next we've got Roundier. It's a Shikigami that's only subjugated by Sukuna. Of course, Megumi couldn't do it himself for some fucking reason, but it has the ability to output positive cursed energy. This of course gives it the ability to use RCT on itself and its user, as well as counteract enemy cursed output. That sounds really fucking strong, considering Yorozu is actually a really powerful character, and Roundier completely neutralized her. So I gotta say, that's quite a powerful Shikigami in the right circumstance. Megumi just might have not been able to subjugate it because he couldn't put out enough firepower. This thing was probably regenning the whole time. Maybe next life, Megumi. And yes, it is indeed a part of Mami. Next up, we've got Piercing Ox, another 10 Shadow only subjugated by Sukuna, otherwise known as the Mahaga Farming Simulator. This is because of its power. It can only charge in a straight line, but it gets stronger the longer it charges for. So why don't you summon it, ride on it, let it charge for a really long time, eventually summon Mahaga, and then boom, jump off, it kills Mahaga in one shot, and bang, you have fucking daddy. And memes aside, it seems pretty strong even without the Mahaga Farming Simulator, because even without a charge of that long, it still bodied Yorozu in her armor. Ah, my favorite Shikigami, Tiger Funeral. It's called Tiger Funeral because it's never seen. Rest in peace. This is my artistic rendition of Tiger Funeral. Or Funeral Tiger, whatever the fuck it's called. So we can't really talk about it, but I speculate that it's something like Divine Dog Totality, where it's just really strong and fast. However, it is a part of Mami. Next, we've got Nue Totality. Yes, this is its own Shikigami, merged beast Agito. It's the totality form of Nue using serpent, tiger, and deer. It doesn't really look like any of those animals if you take a look at this panel, but hey, at least it's the Mami to Maharaga's daddy. This is also another pretty disappointing character because it appears for only like one chapter to fight Gojo and then gets insta'd by a max output blue. I mean, what can you do? You're fighting the GOAT. Sukuna was yapping about this being a 3-on-1, and yes, it absolutely was a 3-on-1, but this guy fucking sucked. I'm sorry. It has electricity fist though. Shout out Kashimo. It also has boobs. Shout out Kashimo. So ultimately, no matter how cool you might have thought, it just wasn't strong enough to partake in the battle of the strongest. Rip Agito, you suck. And of course, the most popular of the 10 Shadows, of course, we've got Mahaga, daddy to both Megumi and Sukuna. We already have a whole video on Mahaga. Go check it out. Very briefly though, it has the ability to adapt to anything and continue adapting even though it's already fully adapted. Its attempted summoning counter is a shit ton of times, and it assists in the takedown of the Glorious King. But alright, praise. We're out of 10 Shadows land, so we can talk about every other Shikigami, starting with Moon Drgs. It's Nihilego. That's what it is. Like Nihilego, it uses poison, but it fucking sucks, because it poisoned a regular student without any cursed energy and did nothing. He survived just fine. Junpei, you suck. Moondregs, you're cute, but you suck. The other thing Moondregs can do, considering it can't even kill a regular person with poison, is block punches, stop blows, cushion Junpei. That's cool, I guess. But the most important thing of all, if you can't see cursed spirits and Moondregs picks you up, it looks like Junpei is using the Force. And that's something everyone has always wanted since they were a child. Next up, we've got the hand-mouth guys. They literally don't have a name. Not in canon, at least. They're used by this shitter old man, and they suck ass. I'm gonna impart some wisdom upon you real quick. If you realize you're a cursed user, and you have these as your Shikigami, give up then. Do not spend your entire life being a cursed user. You are never gonna amount to anything. What the fuck? I mean, imagine, oh dude, I have a Shikigami, summons it, and it looks like this. No, man. And why would you ever think that you'd be strong with these shitters? Next up, we've got the Death Swarm Fishies. They appear in Dagon's domain, and while they're invisible, they attack the victims, and they only turn visible right when they attack the victim. It also seems like they vary in terms of strength, size, and speed, and they're strong enough to murk Nanami and Naobito, but that's less about the Shikigami and more about the domain, I'd say. We already have a video on the channel poorly explaining every domain expansion, so if you want to know more about the Death Swarm Fishies, go check out that video. Next up, we've got a cool one, Judg Man. It's not a Shikigami that can be summoned wherever, it only appears in Higuruma's domain expansion, and it's likely a Libra, for all of you Zodiac people. Its whole thing is about abiding by the law, liking the law, being a better version of Saul Goodman, which is impossible, so it loves the law so much that it literally bleeds from its eyes. But then again, so does Sukuna. So what does that say? Its ability is to, within the domain, call out the verdict, either confiscation or confiscation plus death penalty. Presumably, there's also an innocent verdict, because if there wasn't, I don't know what kind of fucking trial this would be, but yeah, that's its power. Confiscation removes a curse technique, or in Sukuna's case, for some reason, removes its cursed object that he's using, and confiscation plus death penalty gives Higuruma access to the executioner's sword while also confiscating. Again, we've talked about the domain expansion in a different video, but ultimately Judg Man is just kind of a mascot, which it's a pretty cool mascot, but hey. Higuruma, you don't really need it. And last but certainly not least, we've got Garuda. It is connected to Yuki's Star Age, it's Yuki's Shikigami, so my only question is, did she tame it? How did she get this? You know, Shikigami are supposed to be tamed. I'm not sure how most of these people tamed any of this. In essence, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh version of Great Serpent. It's always reminded me of this Cyber Dragon, and as we know, Great Serpent sucks, and Garuda is fucking bomb. Particularly because Yuki can apply Star Age to Garuda, making it incredibly versatile. She's attacked with a ball, a soccer ball that just rips off a cursed spirit's head, a whip that destroys the ground, and wraps up Kenjaku as well. So I gotta say, it can likely one-tap literally any cursed spirit. I would go so far as to say Yuki plus Garuda beat Mahaga. So I think it's an incredibly strong Shikigami, and it can fight independently of Yuki's will. Unfortunately, too bad we don't see more of it, because it's Yuki's. And Yuki is a woman in JJK. So, in conclusion, what can we say about Shikigami? For as cool an idea as they are, Shikigami really aren't all that prevalent, but hey, the 10 Shadows are. But regardless of their prevalence, they compose some of the strongest curse techniques in JJK, including Rika, including Mahaga, including Garuda. And in that same vein, the 10 Shadows are ultimately good only because of Totality and Mahaga. But hey, if you're like that loser old man who's talentless and actually has no friends, they can act like one, and unfortunately I know you don't. But I'll bear the burden. I'll be your friend. If you consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video. I mean, hey, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. You get the sexiest friend on earth, and I get the second sexiest friend on earth. Isn't that right? Let me know down below what you think about Shikigami. Who's your favorite Shikigami? Who's your least favorite Shikigami? Do you like the hand-foot people? Do you identify with this old man? I certainly hope not. Did I do anyone dirty or any of my takes L's? Who's the strongest Shikigami in your opinion? In my opinion, it's Mahaga. Leave any suggestions for future videos down below. Any games, real-life reviews, stories we should cover, anything you want. For you. I love you. You're looking incredibly beautiful. You hazel-eyed man. Goodbye.